we have situations. When the doctor, when she was talking about Cam, okay, and Nick, my whole thing is the word that I was cringing off that she said that they was intentionally creating broken homes.
Isn't that a topic you were going to do?
Yeah, that is one. We're slowly moving into it.
So you're going to transition into it.
We were transitioning, and then you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to wrap this. We got to run this now.
Yeah, we running it.
Okay, so, that was going to lead to Joie Chavis welcoming her third baby with her third baby father, NFL star Trevon Diggs.
My boy.
So, Joie Chavis had her third child with Trevon Diggs.
What's the other lady name that's with your boy with the Houston Rockets? What's her name? She was on Basketball Wives.
Jalen Green?
Nope.
Drea?
Drea.
Yeah.
Who's the other chick that's future baby mom? That's the one we talking about right now?
I think she has a baby. But I think she has a baby by Bow Wow. I know that.
That's her. Trevon Diggs baby mom.
You a little excited. Hold on. You a little excited.
I'm excited. I'm just running down names. You know, I like.
But what is this leading up to?
It's leading up to this. When the doctor was saying he was intentionally creating broken homes, and I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, we got women that, AKA groupies, intentionally insert themselves in situations that they are in front of Cam or the likes of him. So they already done plan out like, hey, this nigga is gonna be my damn baby father, if not goddamn husband.
Is it that what we were kind of alluding to earlier when the premise is on money?
Yes, but my whole thing in this segment right here, my whole thing that I had a problem with the doctor was saying now is she didn't say nothing that was wrong. So let me say that. It was true. But when you're saying it in the masses, your wording matters. Now, she's not in journalism, because in journalism, certain things that you say, especially when you're talking to a black person, it can magnify be more than what it is. So now, the word broken home, okay?
This boy been studying. He's been waiting all week for this.
Yes, I have been, because the thing about it is when you put it on. No, I'm just saying. I mean, listen, because the thing about it is, it seems like. Now, we are in media. We are a part of journalism. Yes. We have to follow up by, well, Cam didn't do this. We haven't heard anything negative about Cam. We should never have to do that. That's like you got to defend his character. But why we have to say that? Why we got to keep reminding people that? Because of what the doctor said. Now, in a private session, when she said he's creating a broken home, which they know the parameters, that it's not necessarily a broken home, even though by definition it is, but it ain't, because if you really look up and follow me, it's funny, but follow me. The average family is considered a broken home because how many people lives in the same home of their mom and father? Not many. There's the divorce rate amongst black folks is higher than most.
Yeah.
Okay, so the average black family does not have the father coming out of the bedroom with his mama, or vice versa. They live in separate homes. So now here we are, Cam. I even went as far as saying that if you are a working parent, right, you're out of the home between 8 to 12 hours, give or take, one or both parents. So they're not realistically being around a child, maybe 4, maybe 6 hours. So what I'm getting at is Cam, even though he's not physically in his home, he's still, especially if the children's in the same city, not too far in the same town or whatever the case may be. In other words, his presence is never diminished. He's always can be there, even though he doesn't wake up and come out of bed. But
it's still a broken home.
Yeah, I get it. But when you're getting out to the masses, when people hear broken home and they're attaching it to the normal person, broken home is negative.
It's kind of good.
It is negative.
It's kind
in this situation, it's not.
But hold on. See, my thing with this is, Cam probably wasn't the best example, because Cam, like, we always go back and forth about Cam had money. If you would have took a just typical average nigga from off the street,
there are niggas off the street with 8 kids.
But that's what I'm saying. But it wouldn't garner the views like having Cam or Nick would garner, because you know, but they have the money to possibly, you know,
manipulate the situation in JFA.
You know, so I see what she was saying. I see what the doctor was saying, but you got the wrong person. I'm not because he got money.
Again, I'm not saying what she said is wrong. I'm just saying is when you are saying it out loud, right? Certain words, I just think broken home could have been. I could think another term could have been used. You feel what I'm saying? Because again, it's putting credence solely on him. When it's two people involved in this shit.
Well, and then one thing that America is based on that I think is a campaign slogan now is a broken home is going to lead to possibly a blended family.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Is there truth to that?
What, a broken home and it leads to a blended family?
Could possibly lead to a blended family.
That's all there is it's either a broken home or a blended family. That's all that happens once you break up a family. It's either broken or blended.
Once you get divorced, I mean,
and blended and broken are the same damn thing.
Because I was telling somebody the other day, and I Buddha is like the, you know, he doesn't counter this. You know, a lot of people when I was growing up, you know, it was marry your first love when you get out of high school, stuff like that. Now, in reality, 20, 30 years later, how many people are with their first love that they married and stuff like that? Not that many.
Well, you see what I'm saying? Most of them still is because they don't. That's all they know. They never dated. So I know a lot that's been married since high school.
I know a lot of people that have been married, and none of the people from high school I know are still married, except for Buddha and them. Maybe Buddha knows a couple more, and V and
I don't know anybody married from high school.
I'm not going to interrupt.
But but that's where we get the blended family. So I see what she was saying about the broken families. Like you say, you're putting it in a.
You're putting the onus on him. It's two people, and like I said, in his shoes, you cannot compare it to the average guy because.
Money.
He got money. He's famous and he got money. So with that being said, she already pre-game as far as what she want to do, how she gonna wear, what she gonna wear, how she gonna talk, all that shit. Even if the man give him all he had to do is say, "Hey, how are you doing?" and start talking.
So she thinking about closing this deal.
Exactly. All she
closing
is just for him to conversate with. Listen, we know groupies be at NBA hotels. Wherever hotel they be at, they are out there. So these ball players, these famous men or women, they are target. So for someone to say you need to make a better choice, that's impossible because you're not gonna know how crazy they is until you.
Who's after you?
But with that being said, you still can use condoms, birth control, pull out.
So let's say
punch her in the stomach.
He was in a relationship with these women. He's in a relationship. So if you're in a relationship, you still.
But he's not married to any of them.
So all the women, all the women that you dated for over, all the women that you dated over a year, you use condoms the whole time. No. If you're not married,
nigga, I got pull out control.
That's not what I asked you. Are you using condoms? If you dating somebody monogamous and it's more than a year, are you using condoms?
I'm not.
Thank you.
I better not be.
Man ain't using no damn condoms. If you dating somebody for more than a year, y'all in a monogamous relationship.
That's what her butt cheeks are for.
That's a monogamous relationship.
If you're in a monogamous relationship, you're not using no condom. So that means the subjective hurt if y'all getting pregnant is high.
But as an athlete, especially of his magnitude, you would have to have it at least in the back of your mind that she's trying to have a baby.
Oh yeah, she's and Joie Chavis is in the same league.
The issue I have with stuff like this is when a nigga is exposed or elevated to these levels, you got to be much more considerate with what you're doing. You have to.
Now, mind
you got to be mindful. It doesn't matter.
He's been trained through this all through high school, all through college. Because remember, he was top.
To stay in the pocket?
No, to be careful of these types of women. He had to avoid it through. He had to avoid it through high school. He had to avoid it through college, and he is in the pros. Like, hello, that gets exhausting. That you got to sit here and constantly got to damn.
I got to wear condoms every time I say.
Is this woman here for me or she not? And let's just say, I'm willing to walk down that line and just say, he might even know that that's all she want from him. He may know that shit. He probably like, you know what? I'm going to rock with it. You feel what I'm saying? Because this is my
Possibly.
option.
I can see that.
This is my option as of right now. I'm probably exhausted. Probably done went through 5 to 10 women
especially
that I thought that was probably it, and they're not. And he came across one. She played that shit to the T.
Especially after the first one. You like, oh, I no, that's cool.
She played it to the T to where he like, you know what? I know this nigga ain't even about me, but you know what? I'm already here. Let's rock it. Let's roll it out. If I have a kid, I just take care of it.
But this is my thing. You said,
But she's a baddie. She's outside of any one of us that's not married. If she was right now 6'2", bad ass body, titties, all that shit, whatever complexion she want, somebody that she wouldn't even look in direction. The fact that she is because you that famous nigga, you got that money. She's all you got to do is open up your mouth and she's down your tongue. Come on, nigga, you ain't walking away from that.
Strapped up.
I pee on a broad like that,
nigga.
Strapped up. No, bruh, see that's the thing, man. Like I think what's happened.
It is, but like you said,
and I just said
in his lifestyle, how many come around like that?
And mind you, I just said he had to navigate this through high school, through college, and part of his pros. That's exhausting that you had to sit here.
I've smashed women for over a year and
keep putting condoms on the whole time. It does get exasperating. I ain't gonna lie.
And so if you sitting here in an actual
look, I'm a regular nigga. I know it gets tiresome as a rich nigga. If you sitting here in a monogamous relationship with a woman, you are not using no condom. So stop lying. And you're a regular dude. You was a regular dude. So a man with money definitely ain't doing that shit.
Yeah. What did I miss?
Y'all niggas.
Yeah, them niggas over there.
Oh my God.
Freaky ass nigga over here.
Look, I'm just saying. Look, I'm saying if a regular ass nigga like me, look, you can only a rich nigga like
so now he's sitting here admitting a regular nigga, right?
A rich nigga probably ain't even got condoms.
Right. So this nigga here, he's a multi-millionaire. Women are out the ass.
Look, that's the issue, though, nigga. Don't be that nigga.
We got
resources.
We understand.
You got resources.
Look, at least I got condoms in my pocket. At least I got condoms in my pocket. This nigga ain't even got condoms. He's just thick.
Listen. Oh, y'all stupid. Listen. It's a lonely world. It's a lonely world when you are striving to be successful, and you gotta walk that tight rope to get from A to B. In this case, A to B is breaking that glass ceiling. Cam Newton transitioned all that from up until that point, and then when you reach to your pinnacle to where you making the money, you got everything to seem at your possession besides that one woman. Now, I made an argument that the average black woman is not going to have 5 to 10 kids. That's not happening, especially if they're in career mode. Yeah. That is not going to happen. So if you're a man that has ambitions to have
a large family,
a Nick Cannon,
not even close to you. If you just want to have at least 5 to 8 kids,
a Tyreek
that's
Hill.
going to be multiple women involved. You're going to very seldom going to find one black woman that's going to say, you know what, I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to bust it open for you every other 2 years.
You're not going to find Phillip Rivers' wife.
You're not going to find that.
You're not going to find Phillip Rivers' wife.
I'm sorry. Because I had this discussion with somebody earlier, and I said, you know why? Because mostly black women, they're not taught to get a husband. They're not taught to, this is what you're supposed to do. They are taught that you supposed to get it. You supposed to be the one. You supposed to hold it down. It's too, especially if it's coming out of a single parent home. You got 2 different parenting styles going down. On one hand, especially if the mom is overprotective. On one hand, she telling the son like, "Hey, you stay, you sit, you don't move." Mm-hmm. Especially if he like, "Mom, can I do?" Nah, you stay here, you do that. Pretty much emasculating his ass, and he's being programmed. You don't move until a woman tell you to move. You feel what I'm saying? On the other hand, sister, right? She sees like, okay, if a man's down, my brother, I'm supposed to take on that responsibility. I'm supposed to build him up because mom is instilling her. You need to be this one. You need to do this. You don't need to depend on no man. You need to do this. ... Whereas Becky, she's being taught she's being groomed to how to cater to a man, to get a husband, to even go as far as having the amount of kids that this man wants. That's not happening with a black family. And especially if they come out of a family where there's a poor family, where there's at least 5 to 10 kids, that whole trauma of dealing with that, to navigate that to where they get to the point that they're able to do the things that they wasn't able to do when they was young, like buy a home, take trips. They're not having 3. They're not. You barely will get 3 kids out of a person that's going through a situation like that. So the ideal of a man, especially of Cam's stature, who says, I want X amount of kids. He cannot go to a black woman and say, well, you going to give me that? Because most of them going to look at him like, hell no. I'm not letting you bust my not getting split open that many times. They're going to tell him no. So being realistic, he going to have multiple women to make that happen. Gotcha. I'm sorry. That's just facts. In my opinion, if there are, I'm just saying, because how many black families that you see right now that has more than 5 kids?
Yeah, it's not mine.
It's not.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and slide off that topic.